And so the application that I have attempted to make, and I first started doing studies on the impacts of popular culture back in graduate school about 30 years ago. I did a study that I'll introduce briefly later about, for instance, the relationship between the consumption of science fiction and attitudes towards different kinds of bioethical questions. And the sociology of culture literature tells us that there are a number of ways to approach an analysis like that. What does a cultural object mean? So the approach that I have generally taken is to take best-selling novels or top grossing films or top watched television shows and try to interpret what they say about the moment. But the moment, in the sense of what's happening with the world, with the audience, with the zeitgeist, is just one element of a way to interpret a particular cultural product. There's clearly the intent of the author, the influences that the author or the creator brings to a product. And of course, who the creator is today is a lot more complicated, because instead of just having one author writing one book, we have TV shows and movies, which are the products of enormous chains of creators and producers and influences of different kinds. And so then we have to especially look at the role of the media industry today, the increasingly concentrated, corporate dominated media landscape. And so, for instance, if you're analyzing a particular, I'm a fan of an LGBT themed Chinese costume drama called The Untamed. The author was a college student, Chinese woman college student, who wrote a web novel that was too racy to adapt in its own form. So when the Chinese media industry adapted it, they cleaned it up and made it more of a bromance between the two principal characters. But then they had to make, the Chinese government had to make some complicated decisions about whether to tone it up or tone it down, and whether to release it abroad, what kind of impression it was going to make. And then they got backlash from the audience and the fans, both of the original racy novel, but also the fans of the new non-racy TV show, and they came into conflict. And so every product has this complex mix of influences that we have to think about in terms of what they represent.